What's up, Misfits? Today is the day where we can finally show you what I like my horses to know at 30 days under saddle. Now, Slick here, he is a 2-year-old colt by Nitros Red Rooster out of Tari Hancock. Today will actually make 33 days under saddle that he has. And he has come quite a long way in those 30 days. He's actually exceeded more expectations than I kind of expected him to. But I'm just gonna go over the basics, kind of show you what I like my horses to know. And yes, Slick here is for sale.
Amber Morris comes in now, AQHA Reserve Pole Bending Champion in 2018 and 2019. The 2022 AQHA World Champion Stakes Race from the Bluegrass State of Kentucky.
Okay, so, like I said, Slick here, he's 2 years old. Today would make day 33 under saddle. He's been doing phenomenal. Now, I will say he has had like the last week off because we've just had so much weather and my arena's been wet. I haven't been able to work it up yet, but it's good enough to at least, do a little bit here and there. But when it comes to like starting colts, like I got started because I was too broke. Too broke to to pay someone else to do it, so I just started doing it myself, and it turns out it's been a pretty good skill of mine that has kind of developed into something that I've just kind of done. I've started a lot of horses, sold a lot of horses, and sold a lot of horses that were just started under saddle. I don't think I've ever sold like a finished horse. It's always been horses that have been started under saddle. But Slick here, he has been, I want to say, the nicest horse so far to start under saddle. Now, like I said, he's out of Tari Hancock. He does go back to Hancock. However, he's the good side of Hancock. We've only had one instance where I asked him to stop and he did take off into the pasture. If you follow my social media stuff, then you've probably seen that story and it's pretty funny. But no, what I like my colts to know at 30 days, they have to be fluent in being able to be soft in that rein, be soft in my leg. And Slick here, he's already just been like phenomenal at it. He's very attuned to his rider. That is the biggest thing. Like, as you can see, I just have such a soft rein. I'm barely using my leg. I'm not even engaging my spur. And he's maintaining that shape with hardly any effort from me. And this is the very first thing I teach my horses. In the round pen, this is what we're doing. I'm doing these little circles. I'm getting them soft to the bit. I don't need them to bring their foot all the way to my nose. No, I don't. Hold on. I don't need them to bring their nose all the way to my foot. But what I do want them to do is I want them to break at the pole. I want them to give into that bit. And I want them to just relax and move nice and easy like he's doing. I don't want any of that silly like runoff nonsense. I want them to feel collected, calm, quiet, and I won't move on until we can do this and he maintain that shape. I mean, look at my finger. I barely, and he's super light in the face. Now, I do have the Josie Mitchell gag bit on him just because I like to move up from a snaffle when I start doing more technical stuff, because I feel like the snaffle just doesn't communicate certain tasks very well because it's a very one-dimensional bit. This bit, I can ask him to pick up that shoulder without hardly needing to get in his face. It just has much more clearer communication, at least for my hands. Everyone's hands are going to be different. But for me, this is just what I like. Now, if I can't do this very well at a walk, then I will not take him to a trot. But once I do get this nice collected, he's bending the rib cage, kind of pulling himself forward with his shoulder and driving from that hip, then we'll move on to a trot. And of course Mac, the dog, is helping train him to be dog broke. But no, they have to be able to do this at a trot as well. Now, it doesn't have to be like super tight circle. Like, he's holding a nice shape. He's got a nice little circle going. He's soft in the bit. He's breaking at that pole a little bit. His head will kind of come down over time. And some horses may just bring their head down naturally, because this is what a lot of the reining horse trainers do. They'll do a lot of these circles, get them soft in the face, and that horse, as you give into that pressure, when you ask for that pressure and you give into it, when they do give it, they will just kind of naturally bring their head down. So, ask him to change directions. And he stays nice and soft. He's not charging forward. If he charges forward, then we're going to work on that. But he's doing really good. Getting a little bit lazy there, but that's fine. I'd rather than be a little lazy in the beginning. It's not until we start doing like pattern work that I try to ask for a little bit more forward momentum. I just want them in these early stages to be nice and quiet and calm. Now this is his bad side. He doesn't hold as good of a shape on this side. As you can see, he's kind of turning his head away. Every horse has a side they're a little sticky on. He's kind of drifting a little bit. There's my leg. But this is his sticky side. So we just work on that. I'm not going to pick at him every time he moves off that shoulder. I'm going to give that pressure back. Ooh. And still though, he's being nice and soft, and he's been so fun to start. He's been a really good horse. Now, something that I did work with him on is early on, and I do this with all my horses, but him especially, because he is so soft in the face and he is just so willing to learn. He's very, I wouldn't say lazy, but he's very, very attuned to what you're doing. So he'll kind of wait and sometimes anticipate, like his big sister. His full sister is a phenomenal horse, but he shares the same traits in that he likes to try to anticipate what you're asking. So lately, I have been doing a lot of side passing with him. We're still a little sticky at it. Like we get our butt ahead of our shoulder, and sometimes our shoulder ahead of our butt. Ooh, good. But, I mean, for 33 days, to have a horse that side passes, like, I don't expect my young horses to be able to, move your butt, to be able to do this at 30 days. This is more like a 60-day thing that I'll work on, but he's just progressed so much that I want to go ahead and try to challenge him a little bit. So that's what we did. But, something else. Very first thing I teach my horses outside of doing the circles is once they understand forward, back, left, right, changing directions, being able to stop, I will then work on teaching him to get off that shoulder. Ooh. And he's still a little sticky on learning difference between shoulder and side passing. But this is the very, very first thing outside of just the bare basics that I teach my horses, because once you get control of the shoulder, the rest will follow. It doesn't matter. Everything else is going to kind of fall into place once you get the circles, getting them soft in the face, getting them shaped up in the rib cage, getting them to learn their foot placement and stuff like that. And I'm not asking him to go fast right now. I just want him to know the difference between side passing and moving that shoulder over, because there are a bunch of different buttons that he's got to learn and whatnot. There. Ooh. But I cannot stress this enough. So many people do not teach this to their horses, especially when it comes to barrel horses. Like, if you don't have that control of that shoulder going into the barrel, how do you expect to be able to finish that barrel correctly? It is so important. So even if you have a rope horse, I mean, all it does is just helps teach them to neck rein, right? Like, he already neck reins really good. The other thing I do not want to keep doing on my horses is before they hit 30 days under saddle, I had better not have to lunge them out before I get on. Because everything that I'm going to do with that horse throughout its life, I want them to start getting established in those habits as early as possible. So if you're lunging your horse out and it's been 2 years since you got them started on the saddle and they're still lunging them out, stop that. There's going to come a day when you're not going to have time to lunge them out. And even if you're doing it at 90 days still, I just like, stop. Just stop. I will never lunge a horse out after 90 days. 90 days is pushing it. For me, it better be before 30 days, because so that just leads to a whole lot of, I feel like, lazy behavior. In the sense that once you establish a certain habit for them, and you break that habit, it makes a lot of horses very angry. And so I just try to change things up, make things as spontaneous as possible once we understand the basics. So Now, Slick here, he has had a bit of issue with his speed control when he thinks we're going to lope. Like right now, I just want him to trot. That's just something we're working on. I want him to trot, I want him to maintain a circle, I want him to feel my leg. Starting to drift a little bit. There we go. Correct that. These are just little fine-tuning things that he's just got to learn. It's nothing that's bad on his part. It's just, this is something that he'll be better at 60 days versus 30 days. He's got a really nice little trot on him. He's nice and smooth. He's incredibly athletic. Mac, get out of the way. Good. He picks up the lope nicely. And he holds its shape. I'm keeping my hand right where I want it to be. Now he doesn't lope directly over his tracks yet. That's ultimately what I want him to do. But we do stay within a 4 foot width of his tracks. So right now at 30 days, that's what I want. I want them to stay within like a 4 foot span and not lope outside of that 4 foot span. But he's been doing pretty good. Oh, good. Back. There. Like I said, this is his sticky side. So we're gonna trot this a little bit more than what I did on the other side, because I want him to quit playing with that bit for a second. Ask for a little bit of shape without him bobbing his head so much. There we go. A lot of people ask me, like, when I start loping my colts. It's like, when I first get on them, day 1, I'm just, like I said, walking and doing circles. But by day 3, I better have them up on the rail of the round pen, and they better be loping. The longer you wait to get your colt to lope, the more issues you're going to have, I've found, with them either wanting to buck, they get lazy, you've gotten in a habit of them being able to take it easy as long as you're on their back. And I think trying to avoid the, I guess you could say, inevitable bronkiness of them tends to get people into a lot of trouble. I don't try to avoid it, I just try to mitigate it as much as possible through groundwork. And if they're gonna, bronk out, you're gonna get one every now and then. That's just the thing. Like, you can do all the groundwork in the world. I've never had one buck on me yet, but this colt's half-brother, I put the saddle on him, and he's the first one who ever did buck when I put a saddle on him. And I've done all kinds of groundwork and desensitizing with him and everything, and he bucked. I've never had one do that. So when I get on his back, that could be the horse that bucks with me. I thought it was going to be him, but no, he came right down when I gave him a job. He's just like, oh, okay. He's come down into that trot nice. Now we're gonna. Like I said, he's a little stickier on this side. He doesn't pick up the lope quite as good as the other side, but that'll just come with refinement. He still has a really nice lope on him. Tried to get a little bit lazy there. I didn't put my spur in him or nothing. I just clucked at him. He's like, oh crap, you didn't say to stop yet. Because that's what he's anticipating right now, is the stop. Ugh, got a bug on my face. Now he is stiffer on this side, and that's fine. Some horses, they're that way, they got a side that they're stiffer on, and stiffer and sticky, that's what I call it, sticky. Takes a little bit more work to get them to respond on those sides, or their bad side, or whatever you want to call it. Oh, good. Oh, go boy. So within the first week, they had better be loping a circle. It's probably not going to be a very pretty circle, but they had better be loping a circle and they better be out of the round pen. I usually try to get my horses out of the round pen and actually to a horse show and ride around within that first week of me getting on them. Because like I said, the more you do with these colts early on, the better it's going to be for their mind. And I know a lot of people, they like to start their horses slow. Here's the thing when it comes to starting horses slow. I do not like starting a horse slow. I like to start them at the appropriate pace for that individual. So many people, they start them slow or they keep them on the barrel pattern too long. They're just doing the same slow drills over and over. That gets a horse dull. It gets a horse not wanting to do their job. And then when you do ask for that speed, people wonder why their horse isn't wanting to speed up and run or give their all. And it's because you've made their life so comfortable at one speed all their life, and now you're asking them to do something. You're asking them for more, and they're just like, where did this come from? That's not how this works. So when I say I'm going to take a horse slow, what that means is the number of shows I compete at, but that does not mean the speed at which I train. The speed at which I train is going to be dictated by these horses. So Slick, he showed incredible intelligence early on. So I challenged him early on and he just took right to it. Another horse that has been that way has been my mare Evie. She really took to the pattern, like immediately. She was bred for it and she just decided that that's what she wanted to do. And I asked her for a little bit of speed and she gave me everything she had. And when she did that and she had a really good pattern, I just let her maintain that. I didn't want to slow her down or nothing. If that's what she was capable of doing, both mentally and physically, then that's what we do. Now, like I said, the only difference is the number of shows I compete at, but that does not mean I'm going to intentionally hold her back when she herself is ready to move on. And that's the same thing with this horse. If you want to take him slow, you can, but I promise you, he is the kind of horse, he will get lazy, he will not want to work. He's the kind you have to push him. You have to push him, you have to challenge him, you have to do whatever to keep him engaged, keep him happy, and keep him from getting bored. So again, I do a lot of this. Even in between what we are working on, I like doing a lot of this. It just helps maintain that shape, maintain foot placement, and maintain suppleness throughout our session. And I mean, like I said in the beginning of this video, this is probably the most important thing you can teach a horse. Respect your leg, respect that bridle, and to come off, to move that shoulder over when you change directions. These things are all so important, especially when you are wanting a barrel horse. Like him, he could go roping, he could go working cow, he could go in any direction really. I mean, his sister, she is a two-time NBHA District 1D champion. She's two-time NBHA World Qualifier. She's qualified for the AQHA World Show 3 times. She was a AQHA World Show or World Champion as well in 2022. And then just last year, she made high point in AQHA in the nation for stakes race. She got first in that. And as well as KOAQHA multiple championships. Congress, she finished top 5 and then top 10 in 2023. And that's his full sister. That's what she accomplished. And he's showing a lot of the same traits in regards to talent as she did. But I want to say he's got a little bit better mind on him. He's a little bit more of a sponge. It took her, I want to say, an extra year before she was mentally mature enough to really push her. He's been so good and just real easygoing. He's got really good work ethic. You ask him to do something and he does it. He's got really good disposition on him too, and I really like that. I don't like a horse, especially a young horse, when I go to ask them to move, I don't want them to take off. I want them to just kind of be a little bit like this in the beginning, just kind of quiet, just kind of shuffle their feet around a little bit. It's when we get to day 90, that's when I'm going to start asking them to have a little bit more forward momentum. Right now, I just want them to stay calm, collected, just kind of think about what we're doing, think about our foot placement, just listen to my hands and my legs, and not really think about anything fast. Now, something else that I've been working on him with is him being able to stop when you sit. That's probably been the stickiest thing that he has had a challenge with. So, the last time I worked with him, he was doing really good. I'm gonna ask him to pick up the lope here a little bit. Oh, like right there, I had to get in his face just a little bit. Just gonna back him up. Good. Let him sit here a minute, think about that. He's licking his lips, he's getting it. But the thing is, when I ask a horse to stop, I don't want to get in their face. I want to just be able to sit. I want to be able to sit and then stop. I don't want to have to be all up in their business. Oh. That was a little bit better. He thought about it. There. Good. You good, bro? Ooh, you got a horsefly on your cheek. Okay, let's go this way this time. Change it up a little bit. There you go. I had to use my spur a little bit that time, but flicked his tail some. Oh, there, that was better. We didn't come to a complete stop, but I felt him kind of sit down a little bit. And that's what we want. When I sit, I want him to sit. I don't want to sit my butt and then him pucker his, which is what we did the other day. But that was the only day he did it. And he's been a good boy ever since. Oh. There, back up. We are still a little bit lazy on the backup, but like I said, that'll come when we do more like refining stuff. I know, I see it. There you go. Oh, now that time he didn't. I'm going to assume it was the dog, but it shouldn't matter. The dog being there should not bother him at all. Oh. Whoop! Well, don't step on yourself, dummy. You're getting lazy. Your turn. Oh. Ooh, that was better. I felt that. That felt pretty good. Oh. I had to engage him a little bit, but he is getting better. Compared to what he was, he's gotten a lot better. Oh boy. Anyway. But those are just what I want my horses to know at 30 days, and I want them to be like fluid at it. I don't need them to be like super refined, but they have to understand and have a really good concept of what I'm asking and do it all on a nice, soft rein. I don't like to sit there and muscle my horses. If it feels like they're not responding to the snaffle anymore, then I will bit them up just a little bit because I am not going to sit there and fight. Especially when it comes to the more technical stuff. The more technical our sessions start to get, like with the side passing. I want to be able to get in his face and be able to communicate each thing a little more clearly. Now, he's still really sticky. I mean, we've only side passed for probably 3 days. But for 3 days, this is not bad. Oh. Now, one thing we have been working on is moving our hip And he's gotten pretty good at that. Good. We're still moving our front feet, but we've only worked on our hip for like 2 days. We started with our shoulder, and then I moved to side passing. And then I did the hip. That's just, like, sometimes I will do the shoulder. Oop, we're stickier on this side when it comes to the hip, but there. Now, sometimes I'll do the shoulder and then the hip and then the side passing, but with him, just with how he is getting control of that rib cage and how bendy he is, I wanted to do the side passing before I did the hip. That's just what seemed to work best for him. But anyway, like I said, that's just what I want my horses to know at 30 days. They had better be soft, supple. Doing the tight circles, that's going to propel your horse forward so much faster. When I started doing that with all my horses, is like their ability to learn and to get their feet where they should be, it just skyrocketed. But he is available. He is officially available. So if you are interested in him, go ahead and send an email. That all is in my page description. If you do like this video, leave a like, subscribe, share the video, and I will see you all in the next one. And until then, work hard, stay misfits.